learn how to make AI talking videos, post them on social media, grow a following, and potentially monetize it? Videos like these.
Man, why I look like a church uncle? I just learned how to grab my toes and they got me out here suited and booted. Now y'all keep washing my 3 little hairs like it's a lace front. Baby, it's scalp.
Stay tuned, honey, because I'm going to teach you how to produce these videos for cheap and in some instances for free. Now, results vary. I'm going to teach you the skill, but in order to grow a following, you must know this. You have to post consistently. But here's the great thing. I'm going to give you all the prompts that I use in order to make these videos. Are you ready? Well, let's go. AI baby videos are like viral candy, honey, and they are taking over the internet. I mean, here on TikTok, you see 22,000 views, 1,000 views, 10,000 views. This one has 600,000 views. And the reason why it works, y'all, is because it's completely cute and it's completely absurd. But here's the thing. It seems deceptively easy. Just go and drop a prompt in, right? And you'll get your baby. But that's not always the case. So today, I'm going to teach you the cheat code about how to create your own viral talking baby using Google Flow software. And I know you've heard the word on the street that you have to pay to use Google Flow, but there are apps that allow for you to use it for free or for cheap. Keep listening until the end of the video, and I'm going to put you on game. Are you ready? All right, let's get into it. First step, we're going to open Chatisha, aka ChatGPT in these streets. We're going to keep the prompt short and sweet, but there are key elements of this prompt that I want to see. We'll start by saying, I am going to be crafting a video about babies who speak like grown-ups. The babies will be fewer than 6 months old. They will be saying hilarious lines that are an observation of how humans treat them. It will be as if a baby can talk. The baby will talk about how a grown-up, do people still call adults grown-ups? I feel like I haven't said the word grown-up since I was like 8 years old. Anyway, the baby will talk about how a grown-up might put cereal in their milk, comb their non-existent hair. So you give it examples because Chatisha, aka ChatGPT, doesn't live in real life. This helps ground the funny. What I found is that you have to put some keywords in there. We say the baby will be comedic and will lean into wise humor, absurdity, African-American vernacular English. I always say Generation Z humor. I say lead with an anticipation hook. And this just means that the first few words that the baby speaks just has to be so funny that people feel like they want to watch the entire clip or a collection of clips. And then finally, I say, and ensure that a Black audience can relate to the humor in a natural way that doesn't feel stereotypical. I know this is a long prompt, but Chatisha, even though in my mind it's a Black woman, sometimes has the humor of a 65-year-old white man. No shade to Bobby now, but I'm just saying that there is some humor that you just don't have to explain. Anyway, let's keep going. I always end with this. It must be 2 sentences and must not exceed 8 seconds. So we're going to be using Google Flow, and Google Flow doesn't allow for any spoken word that exceeds 8 seconds. So we definitely want to see it in there. The last thing I say is I want 10 options. So you definitely don't want to generate one option at a time. You want to be able to get multiple options to see if you can select 1 or 2 that works. So this is my prompt. We're going to run it. Now, if you're using ChatGPT 5, I always recommend that you use ChatGPT fast because we don't have time for it. ChatGPT stays on freaking CP time. And I'm always like, girl, hurry up. Hurry up, girl. We ain't got all day for you to be sitting up there twiddling your toes. That's a Southern saying. So let's see what Chatisha has delivered. All right, we need to see if she actually has a little funny in her because sometimes she just doesn't get the job done. So y'all put cereal and milk but call me messy for drooling. That's wild. Okay, that's okay. Ain't no hair on my head, but here go mama brushing like I got waves coming in. All right, that could be a little cute. So mama wig off and y'all just gonna act like I ain't see that? I know my baby know all my business. Now this, I grew, but sometimes I add a little something up in there, just to give myself a little razzle dazzle. Daddy kissed mama, then lean over and trying to kiss me. Sir, that's cross contamination. That could be cute. So you get the idea. Generate 10 lines, and generally what I do is I include another prompt that says, give me 10 more lines. Okay, Chatisha, she ain't working on CP time. She stopped twiddling them toes and she got to work. I said, if I pay you $20 for plus, honey, you better give me every dollar, every cent worth. So we're going to read a couple more. Every time I cry, y'all be like, what's wrong? Lady, you the grown one, you tell me. ChatGPT is one of the least funny and unfunny chatbots I've ever interacted with. And that's why we have to prompt it to make it funnier. With that being said, this line says, why I look like a deacon with no teeth. I just learned how to grab my toes. I think that that's funny, but I think it could be funnier with a human touch. Here's a bonus tip. You grab that prompt, paste it. You can always edit it. So I might say, why I look like a deacon with no teeth. I just learned how to grab my toes, and they got me out here suited and booted. That is a country saying. When you choose your dialogue, now you have to wrap a concept around it. The dialogue can be funny, it can be cute, it can be whimsical. That sounds like a name that Nara Smith might name her 17th child. Anyway, you got to get a concept, right? So that visual can help reinforce the text, right? The spoken word from the baby. So I'll say, this is my line of dialogue. Give me 3 visual concepts in 30 words or fewer I can use as inspiration for a video prompt. My child is African American. Give me 3 potential scene concepts. We never ask for one. We always ask for more than one. Buy one, get 2 free. Buy one, get 9 free. Okay, so a baby in an oversized pastel Easter suit, slumped in a car seat, side-eyeing the camera like he's late for a church finance meeting. Regenerate, but with 50 words, and I want the baby wearing a suit in the concept. It's going to give me 3 more options. Baby in a pastel Easter suit, tiny bow tie crooked, sitting in a stroller looking fed up, side-eyeing the camera while adults hype him like he's a pastor about to preach. That is the one. So we have our concept. Let's move on to the next tip. And that's going to be creating our scene. We're going to type create a video scene prompt I can use in Google Flow and includes the following content categories. We're going to say scene location, and we're going to tell it be detailed. We're going to say sound effect. We're going to say a detailed physical description of my character, who I have named Roscoe. You ever met a baby that's like 2 months old, but they got a name of a 78-year-old man that lived back in the 60s? Yeah, that's Roscoe, who I have named Roscoe and is 6 months old. Do not be afraid to add a little detail there just for context. And he is African American. So I'll put that there. Also, in addition to scene location, sound effects, a detailed physical description, you're also going to include Roscoe's tone of voice, his specific outfit, and include the camera angle, which is interview style. These categories are essential. Additionally, consider the following concept when you are constructing my prompt. And I'm going to go and get this concept here. I'm going to paste it here. The last thing I'm going to say is my character says this exact line. And then we go and we pull from the text that we modified from an earlier prompt. When you get your video scene prompt, it's imperative that you read through the entire prompt and you look for those things that don't make sense, or perhaps you can elevate. For mine, scene location, a lively Black church parking lot on Easter Sunday. This is perfect, regardless of if we are even coming up on Easter Sunday. We know this is prime time for crazy church outfits. I'm not talking about God. I'm just talking about why is your auntie wearing every color of the rainbow in pastel? Because it's Easter. She tried to show off with her church hat wearing self anyway. Sound effects, church organ chords softly playing in the background. That's fine. but we really want to hone in on the character, right? Because the baby is the MC, the main character. 6-month-old African-American baby named Roscoe with chubby cheeks. I don't want to make the assumption that because I've named the baby Roscoe that the AI knows that Roscoe is a boy. So that is one edit that needs to be made. Make sure your gender is in there. Make sure the age is in there. Big curious eyes. He looks unimpressed. I think that this would be even more funny if he's wearing an oversized suit, just to emphasize the point, right? Why am I 6-month-old in a big old deacon suit, right? Where the aunties crowding around me talking about, hey, little coochie mula mula hula nwa. You know when you talk to your baby, you be making up words. Don't look at me crazy. All right, his tone of voice is also important. Go for at least 3 adjectives. I have more than that here. Wise, sarcastic, weary, and delivered in the rhythm of a young black uncle. And then your camera angle for baby videos can be whatever you want, but for right now, what's trending is interview style. And then make sure that your dialogue is there, but your dialogue needs to be preceded by these words. Your character's name and the word says. So it should be Roscoe says. In your next prompt, you're going to make sure that those edits are represented. So I'm going to say, great prompt. Thank you. I'm always courteous to Chatisha because if she ever decides that she wants to get off the internet and show up at my doorstep, I can't fight and I won't start with the robot. So great prompt. Thank you. But let's edit it so that Roscoe is wearing an oversized suit. And also include he is a boy. And for the dialogue, mention Roscoe says before the line of text. All else remains the same, and then press enter. The next tip I'm going to provide for you is mind-blowing. After we review this prompt, I'm going to give you a tip that ensures that your baby is talking every single time. And you don't want to miss this tip. It's definitely a game changer because you don't want a cute baby, a great line of dialogue, but when you run the prompt, the character's not speaking. So I'm going to make sure that they have included that my character is a boy, and they have right here. So baby boy. Excellent. Next, I want to make sure that his suit is oversized. So that is there. And then the last thing is I want to make sure that it says Roscoe says before the dialogue so that I know that the dialogue is going to him. The last thing that we're going to do before we carry things over into Google Flow is we're going to say regenerate, keep all the same concepts, but add this line. Roscoe is 18 years old, but he looks like a 6-month-old baby. This is key. Even though Google Flow does now allow for you to put a voice to a baby, like they condone that, aging the baby up to 18, but visually have them looking like a baby will ensure that when you generate this prompt, that baby is talking 70% of the time versus 0%. So I'm going to include this and press enter, and it's going to give me the prompt again, but it is going to say that he is 18, right? 18-year-old African-American boy, but he looks exactly like a 6-month-old baby. That is the exact language that you need in order to carry this forward in Google Flow. So congratulations. I have now shared my entire prompt sequence. We're now going to go over to Google Flow, and we're going to test this out. Good job. Go ahead and shimmy, shimmy, shake, shimmy, shimmy, shake, shimmy, shimmy, shake, shimmy, shimmy, shake. You did it. Well, you almost did it. We're breathing across the finish line. If you brushed your teeth, it's smelling good over there. If not, keep that dragon breath in your mouth. All right, let's head over there. You're going to copy your prompt and you're going to head over into Google Flow. And that website is labs.google/fx/tools/flow. Google Flow. All right. And the VO3 version. Y'all in here is the final product. I'm so proud. Let's listen together.
Man, why I look like a church uncle? I just learned how to grab my toes and they got me out here suited and booted.
So I had to age Roscoe up to 21 years old. Though I did have a baby speaking at 18 years old, he looked more like this fake baby right here.
Man, why I look like a church uncle?
I just learned how to grab my toes and they got me out here suited and booted.
When I put him at 21 years old, it looked like a more photorealistic baby. Okay, so you see I had to generate a few times. They had some babies that I think look more real than others, where I like the background. But for this particular baby, he said all of the words and he said it also in a baby tone. With that being said, I did have to adjust the tone a little bit. I said, sounds like a baby. And that took it from a deep voice.
Why I look like a deacon with no teeth? I just learned how to grab my toes and they got me out here suited and booted.
To a more childlike voice. And that's how you get to work with Google Flow's current content guidelines and abide by it within its guardrails. Okay. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to follow the rules and we want to make sure that we create content that is both funny and adorable, but also doesn't violate any content policies. And this doesn't. Now, with Google Flow, it costs $19.99 to get started generating videos like this. But if you already have a Canva Pro account, you can begin generating Google videos over there. They allow, I believe, 5 generations a month at the time of this recording. If you already have an account with Leonardo.ai, you can also generate videos with them as well. And that comes along with their paid plan. So use the videos, y'all. Use it to your advantage. There are pages right now that are using Google Flow, and they are growing to hundreds of thousands of followers. I mean, literally within a month. One page that I really like, Granny Spills. Y'all, this page, Chef's Kiss. And the creator was able to grow it to over 300,000 followers in a month and a half. These babies, these talking babies, are not going anywhere anytime soon. This trend is hot, 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 and it will probably continue for some months, if not the rest of this year into the next year. So you're welcome. Okay, so you just finished a tutorial. Go ahead and click like and subscribe. And if you want my full prompt sequence where all you have to do is copy paste, go ahead and head over to School at Night and visit the assembly. Speaking of the assembly, every month I teach 2 new AI side hustles in a live classroom, and I give you worksheets so you know how to do it. Also, you get access to a prompt library and a media library in order to get your AI journey started. With that being said, y'all, until next time,